Hello, you are watching the latest edition of DBE TV News. You can find this bulletin on Fridays at 12 p.m. on DBE TV channel 122 if you have an OpenView decoder, or Bricks TV channel 509 at 4:30 in the afternoon if you are a StarSat subscriber. Otherwise, catch it on YouTube. Please remember to share the link with your friends, family and anyone in your circles. Welcome. My name is Tsehohajo Moagi. Here are some of the top stories from this week. Fears as another learner is kidnapped at a Gauteng school. The Basic Education Department took part in the Vaccination Drive in Sebokeng, urging residents to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Matric learners at a school in Bumalanga are spending their days and nights on the school premises as they aim for a 100% pass mark. Exciting news for aspiring school principals as the department introduces an advanced diploma to assist them to be competent and qualified. We get the latest information about the quality management system. The training is continuing throughout the country. And sad news in this bulletin. The department mourns one of their own, Sammy Erasmus, who was the Chief Education Specialist at the head office in Pretoria. Remember to get in touch with us by using our social media platforms. On Twitter at DBE_SA and at DBE TV News. Facebook DBE SA, Instagram DBE SA. You can use the hashtag DBE News. So let's start here. The Department of Basic Education has urged parents to be on the lookout for danger when dropping their children off at school. This comes in the wake of another alleged kidnapping of an 11-year-old learner outside a school in Mayfair in Johannesburg. A month ago, 4 Limpopo children were kidnapped while on their way to school. The department's head of communications says parents need to take extra care in the light of the latest developments. He says child safety is everyone's business and everybody must play their part.
As the Department of Basic Education, we want to urge parents to be on the lookout when they are dropping off their children in the morning or even when they are picking up in the afternoon, because we have started seeing a trend where children are being kidnapped in and around schools. It seems that a school is an easier environment for the kidnappers, and we need to make sure that we stop it. And the only way we can stop it is if we work together. The parents need to make sure that when they drop off their children, don't just drive off. Please wait a little bit, see where your children is going to, because in the latest case in Gauteng, it seems the parents dropped off the child. While the child was waiting to be processed into the school, the kidnappers pounced, took the child into a car and drove off with her. I mean, the child has still not been found, which is a problem. And we know it's not the first case that has taken place. So we really need to make sure that we work together with our schools, as parents as well. When we're dropping off, let's work together. Let's create a human chain around schools, especially at that busy period when children are being dropped off. So we need to work together, protect our children. Child protection is our business, all of us. Where there's a security guard, the security guard needs to make sure that as a parent, you do the right thing. Don't just rush to go to work. Rather, arrive early and make sure that you give yourself enough time to ensure that your child walks safely.
Circumstances surrounding this incident are still being investigated by the police, and anyone who might have information is required to interact with the police and assist with that investigation. We have already dispatched our psychosocial unit team. They have already started with the process of counseling, which will continue for the probably entire week, just monitoring on how learners are doing and the educators and everyone that is in the schooling community.
The Gauteng Department of Education says the learners at the E.P. Bauman Primary School are receiving trauma counseling after witnessing the alleged kidnapping of the grade 5 pupil. The police are investigating the case. To this now, government departments and officials took part in the Vaccination Drive that took place from the 12th to the 14th of November. The program is aimed at encouraging as many people as possible to take that COVID-19 vaccine. Officials did oversight visits at various vaccination sites. The Basic Education Department also took part in the Vaccination Drive held at Bumalanga Township in Sebokeng. Gauteng MEC for Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, Mbali Hlophe, has urged residents to take the vaccine.
We're here in Bumalanga doing the oversized visits to see how the vaccination is going. We're quite excited that they've started now. The community is coming out. The attendance is a bit slow, but we also understand that it's also early in the morning. People will be coming later in the day, but we're looking forward to it. I must say that it's quite exciting to also see the Department of Basic Education here with us from the National Department. They've come here to also join and enforce the work that the Department of Health is doing in the province, and we obviously have been deployed by the Premier to come and assist. So far, it's going well. There is a lot of hesitation. People are still scared. There's still some fake news that we need to make sure that we're able to tell people proper news so that they don't fall prey into the fake news and believing that the vaccination will harm them when it won't. But otherwise, we remain positive.
The National Department of Health has now allowed for children between 12 and 17 years to get their jab. These residents have spoken out about the importance of getting the vaccine.
Ke kgethile gore ngwanaka a tlo vaccinated because ha ke batle a tshware ke COVID-19. If e le gore le a ka mo tshwara COVID-19 ha eno mo bolaya e tlo kgona go fola. That's why ke kgethile gore a tlo hlaba.
Bana beso corona it is there, corona e a bolaya, but re tlameha ho hlaba vaccine ho preventa. Le bana ba tlameha ho hlaba vaccine ho preventa COVID, because at some stage COVID e tla le bana ka tlung ba yeng ka sekolo. Yes, teachers are there ba ba kata bana, but during lunch times hae nako nngwe ke nako le horeng ba bang they exchange nako eo matitjhere hayo ka hara bona, and then during lunch times matitjhere nako nngwe hana nako ya ho ba monitor, but in the classrooms ba khona ho ba monitor. It is important to hlaba vaccine ho preventa ngwana hao, ho preventa valley, ho preventa South Africa ka botlalo. It is important to re hlabe vaccine ke a leboha.
This learner says she's happy to have received the COVID-19 vaccine, adding that it will protect her against severe illness should she get the virus, and she hopes that things will soon get back to normal as more people get their jabs.
Well, I choose to vaccinate because of, I don't know what future it's holding for me. Maybe tomorrow I could be sick because of COVID-19 or something. I will never know. So I decided, I made a decision for myself. I told my parents I want to get vaccinated to be safe, to be secure. So that's why I did it. So yeah, I'm glad that I did so.
After the break, we get more information about the Advanced Diploma for Aspiring Principals. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Department of Basic Education has confirmed that training of the quality management system is continuing in every province. The QMS is a performance management system for school-based educators designed to evaluate the performance levels of individuals in order to achieve high levels of school performance. It is critical in assessing the extent to which educators are performing in line with their job descriptions and helps to improve the level of accountability in our schools.
The IQMS, which has been in the system in our schools since 2005, was rebranded, streamlined, strengthened and adopted as Collective Agreement number 2 of 2020 at the Education Labour Relations Council in September last year. An innovation that the QMS agreement introduces is a user-friendly work plan for the school management team. It also introduces performance standards which have now been reduced for the appraisal process. At this juncture, we need to concede that the COVID-19 environment has impacted on QMS training. However, in spite of a restrictive environment, training commenced in October last year to enable implementation by all principals as from late January this year. In preparation for the full implementation of the QMS, provincial training teams have been working tirelessly across districts for the training of post-level 1 to post-level 3 educators to ensure that they are trained before year end. Thus far, over 80% of deputy principals, departmental heads, as well as close to 50% of post-level 1 educators have been trained.
Karimula has also thanked provinces for ensuring everyone is trained and knows how to use the system as they prepare for the full implementation from next year.
I would like to thank our provincial training teams for driving the QMS training in their respective provinces. I would also like to thank our principals for their dedication in taking the lead in developing work plans with targets and performance indicators which focus on improving learner performance in their schools. To support our principals, we have made available supplementary resources on the QMS on the DBE website. While our teachers prepare for full implementation of the QMS in order to migrate from the IQMS to the QMS as from January 2022, I encourage all our educators to embrace the new quality management system with confidence in their journey towards excellence in teaching.
The National Development Plan calls for the Basic Education Department to appoint competent and qualified people to become school principals. With this in mind, the department has put measures in place to ensure it happens as stipulated by introducing an advanced diploma for all those who aspire to be principals one day.
The department has developed an advanced diploma, which is at exit level 7. It's a 2-year qualification aimed at preparing principals to become those that are expected by the sector, qualified and competent. The qualification has been approved by both HEDCOM and CEM. It is now in the institutions of higher learning. Institutions of higher learning that are ready to roll out the qualification have begun their registration process. It is important for people to note that this is a qualification made to prepare those who want to become principals. It's not a qualification for principals that are already in the system. Those who are in the system and want to do it, they can do it at their own time, at their own cost, because they would want to improve their quality or their competences. But from the department's point of view, we're only looking for aspirant principals and prepare them in advance so that by the time they take up their responsibilities, they are ready and they are qualified.
Ndlebe has given this advice to those who one day want to take up the principal role.
Those who aspire to be principals should be in contact with their district offices or their provincial offices and register with the higher institutions of learning, your universities, where the criteria for selections are explained. The department does offer bursaries to selected competent middle managers who we believe are going to become better principals after the qualification. And this is offered through the EPTD SETA Buzzari, and it's managed by the Department of Basic Education. So those who are middle managers, we call on you to contact your districts and your provinces and make an application via a university and get a bursary and get the qualification, and so that you stand a better chance when you compete with the rest of the people in becoming a principal.
Let's move to the Bumalanga province now. It's been almost a month since matric learners wrote their first National Senior Certificate exam, and grade 12 learners from Shinyukane Secondary School in Bumalanga have continued attending study camps daily at their school. The school is situated next to the Swaziland and Mozambique borders, and the principal says learners staying on the school premises helps them not only to study, but to learn other important lessons that will guide them when they go for higher education.
We receive learners from poor background because most of our parents are not working. So, as a means of improving our results, from 2014 where we obtained the 100% pass, we hold our annual grade 12 study camp with an agreement with parents. And last year we did not have our camp, and our results plunged down to 80.1%, whilst our average for about 8 years was 95%. And this year, together with parents, learners, educators, all stakeholders of the school, we agreed that we must have a camp for 262 learners. And our target is 95% and above. And it is possible, whilst we have a study camp for the grade 12s who are sleeping here, who are studying here, and the teachers wanted to teach them, they also teach them through the school.
He says they are certain this will assist them to improve their matric pass rate, especially as teachers have also shown their determination and commitment to the learners.
There's 100% participation of grade 12 educators who are teaching learners. That is, we've got subjects like tourism, we've recently wrote mathematics and medical literacy, and today they're writing easy studies, yesterday they were writing economics. The educators are responsible for those subjects, and HODs are responsible for those subjects, they assist learners. And learners themselves assist themselves by being engaged in group studies. We use our cell phones to phone parents and to allow learners to talk to their parents. But the product is good.
After the break, we find out more about who Semi Erasmus was. You don't want to miss it. The Basic Education Department is mourning the loss of one of their own. Samuel Ronnie Erasmus, known as Semi Erasmus, was the Chief Education Specialist at the department, responsible for curriculum development and monitoring the fields of economics and management sciences. Erasmus was born on the 18th of October 1961 and died on the 8th of November 2021. He has been described as a loving and caring man with a great sense of humor who devoted his life to the Lord and to education. Our reporter, Robinson Ngola, filed this report.
It was a somber moment as the family of Samuel Ronnie Erasmus bade farewell to him. Erasmus died last week after a short illness at the age of 60. His daughter spoke fondly of her late father, saying he was a very generous man.
So, I was very close to my dad. He was a motivator. He was my biggest cheerleader. He was always praying for me, always supporting me. He'd have a difficult time saying no to me, so he would always drive me wherever I wanted to go, always take me for sushi. He'd also always give my friends lifts, always give everyone lifts. He was very generous. And he was definitely a cool, calm and collected person, and someone who kind of evened out my stressful nature. And there were definitely times when I would call him. Sometimes I would call him at 3 in the morning, like, "Pa, I'm still studying, but the exam is tomorrow. Give me a prayer." And he'd first go, "Hello, who's this? What? Oh, okay." Then he'd get it, and then he'd pray for me, and he'd never complain. He was always ready to talk to me, always there for me. Always being like my cheerleader.
Despite the loss, she says she does not have a heavy heart. Instead, she's grateful to have had the pleasure of calling him Dad.
And he's definitely someone who was very positive and cheerful, smiling. He'd smile in the face of adversity, smile in the face of the devil. He was not scared. He was not scared of death, even on the last few moments. And speaking to him, when he was still able to speak, we prayed together, and he said, may God take care of me and the family, and just that may God's will be done. And I believe that God's will was done. And I'm very grateful for my dad. He had a big heart, very generous, sometimes too generous, but he is reaping all of those benefits right now in heaven.
Those in attendance at his funeral heard about his passion for education and how, even in difficult environment, he was always willing to serve.
I worked with Sammy in the Department of Basic Education in Struben Street in Pretoria. And Sammy managed all the examination irregularities that emanated from the national examinations across the country. His tenacity and resilience shone through the investigations he conducted relating to the 2020 examination irregularity. You know what? I could call Sammy at any time of the day or night and request him to perform any task, and there would never be a refusal on his side. His regular response would be, if a job needs to be done, it must be done. Very often, the assignments would incur some kind of an inconvenience, and he would take on the task, not counting the cost to himself. What I saw in this man was a servant spirit, willing to do and to accomplish whatever was within his means. So he was not only a man who stood behind the pulpit and preached the word of God, he lived out the word of God in his daily life. And that is a true evangelist and a true pastor.
His colleagues described Erasmus as a dependable man, a man of all seasons who knew how to relate to everyone that he worked with.
Something about Sammy is that he had a sense of humor, second to none. Now, we work in an extremely stressful and highly pressurized environment. But do you know, amidst all those stresses and strains and pressure mode, he was able to bring laughter. He knew how, in addition to bringing laughter, he knew how to relate to the cleaner who cleaned our offices, and he knew how to relate to the admin support staff, and he also knew how to relate to the Director General and his senior managers. So, Sammy, in one statement, was a man for all seasons. Do you know that Sammy was a man of great wisdom? I would often call Sammy to my office after a difficult meeting or engagement and listen to his perspective about that meeting. And I would sit back there and attentively and in awe listen to his analysis and evaluation of what went on in that meeting or in that engagement. And I have come to depend on him for his wisdom, particularly in these post-meeting analysis, very deep insights.
The death of Erasmus came as a shock to many in the National Department where he worked since 2012. However, they say he has left behind a strong legacy.
Let me say that, Sammy, I can go on relating the greatness of this particular man. We will miss your bright, jovial, and energetic personality. I can just visualize him walking swiftly through the corridor, down the floor, because he was always a man with a mission to accomplish what he had to do. No time to waste. He will be missed in our office space, in the corridors of the department. But we will take comfort in the fact, Sammy, that in your role in the department, you built, you mentored, you created, and you leave behind a legacy.
Erasmus is survived by his wife and 2 children. Robinson Ngola, reporting for DBE TV News in Pretoria.
From all of us at DBE TV News, we send our deepest condolences to the Erasmus family, his friends and colleagues. That's how we end this week's news roundup on Channel 122 on OpenView, on YouTube and on BRICS TV Channel 509 Starset. Until next time, it's goodbye from myself, Tsegohatso Moagi, and the entire team. Thank you for watching.